Hello everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I'm going to continue your same module that is the quality systems in IT, and the new topic that we have studied about, or the new topic, or we can say the next one is the quality management principle. That is, what are the various quality management principles that is available in this one. That is, what are the various quality management principles, or how do we know what are the quality management principles that is covered in this one. So let's start with the previous class session what we have covered in the last class, then move to the today's topic, that is the quality control. So let's start with the previous class session what we have covered. We have covered with the, or we have started with the last class. In the last class, that is the, what are the various quality control or quality management principle that is available in this one. So let's start with the quality management principles. So we discussed about the principle, that is what are the various principles that is acquired or that is required for the various principles for the data that is required for the principles, that is the quality management principle by which the quality can be improved. So we are talking about the quality management principle that is defined as a comprehensive and the fundamental rule that is defined for leading and operating an organization, that its main aim is to improve the performance over the long term by focusing on the customer. So by focus on the customer, how the customer can be achieved, or how the customer can be focused. So it can improve the performance over the long term by focusing on the customers while addressing the needs of all other interested parties. So whatever the need, whatever the long term that is discussing, so focus on the customer while addressing the needs of all the interested parties. And eight principles are emerged as a fundamental to the management of the quality. That means there are eight principles that have been emerged as a fundamental to the management of the quality, or as a management of the quality that is discussed in the quality management principle. And all the requirements of ISO 9001 2000 are related to one or more of these principles. So whatever the principle that is required by the one or more of these principles, and these principles provide the reasons for the requirements, and are this very important for the principle, that is requirements of the principles, or whatever the principle that is required are very important as per the requirement that is given below. And these are the eight principles that is given above, that is the customer focus, that we focus on the customers. The main focus of the organization to depend on their customer, and should therefore understand the current and the future customer needs. So whatever the customer need, whatever the current and the future customer need, that meets the customer requirement, and strive to exceed their customer expectations. So whatever the customer expectation that is required to strive to exceed the customer expectations. And customers are the lifeblood of every organization. So whatever the lifeblood that is required, that is our customers are the lifeblood of the organization, of every organization that is acquired or that is required the properties of the organization. And all the organizations provide something to others. They do not exist in the isolation. That means they do not exist in the isolation that is required, and we should consider or remember the customer that is required for this one. So we should focus on the customer satisfaction. We should focus on the customer. The next is the leadership. That means the leaders establish the unity of the purpose and direction for the organization. So whatever the purpose, whatever the unity of the purpose that is required for the direction of an organization, that required to create and maintain the internal environment in which the people can become fully involved in achieving the organization objective. That means whatever the objective of the organization that is achieved by the leadership, that is one of the main part of the leadership. Then there is the next part, that is the involvement of the people. The people are fully involved in the organization by their one term. Then next is the process approach, that is desired result is achieved more efficiently when related resources and activities are managed as a process. So whatever the activities, whatever the resources that are managed as a process, that activities are processed, that activities are managed by the process approach. And all work is a process because it takes input and converts these into the output. That is a process approach that is required where the related resources and the activities are managed as a process. And a process is capable of producing the rubbish as a procedure is capable of wasting the resources. So whatever the resources, whatever the rubbish procedure that is taken care of, that is taken care of as a procedure that is capable of wasting the resources. And the processes or process approach that is capable of reflected in ISO 9000 through the address requirement. So whatever the requirement, whatever the addressing that is required with this. Then there is a systematic approach to the management, that is also the next part, that is also one of the main principle that is available in the ISO 9001 for the requirement processing. Then there is a continual improvement. Then there is a factual approach to decision making. So whatever the approach to the decision making that is required, that is also expressed on the basis of the analysis of the data and the information. Then the next principle is mutually beneficial supplier relationship. So there is a mutually beneficial supplier relationship that is available. So an organization and its suppliers are interdependent, and mutually beneficial relationship enhances the ability for of both to create the value. So whatever the organization, whatever the suppliers, whosoever the supplier that is available, they are independent or they are interdependent on the each other. That means organization depend on the supplier, so there should be a mutually beneficial supplier relationship, that is a mutually beneficial relationship that enhances the ability to both create the value. And the customer focus principle, attention to the depends on their customer, that the organization depends on their customer by focusing on the value, by focusing on the attention that is available to the value. And it is also valid to state that organization depends on their supplier. So whatever the organization, whosoever taking the organization, who is the owner of the organization, that depends on their suppliers. And the suppliers provide the material resources and often many services that were once provided by the internal function. So whatever the function, whatever the services that is available with the internal function. The organizations of the 21st century are more dependent upon their suppliers than ever before. So whatever the organization, whatever the part that is available, that depends upon their supplier than ever before. And the quest for the lower and the lower cost with the higher and the high performances has caused many organizations, right? That has caused many organizations to consider the economics of continuing to operate their own support services. So whatever the services, whatever the scenario that is using, that depends on their services, that depends on their support services. And there has been a recognition that organizations were trying to be a good at everything rather than being good at their core business. So whatever the business, whatever the core business that is available, they are available to be good at their core businesses. That means there should be mutually coordinated among the suppliers, among the organization, and this has led to the single function organization serving many customers. So there are many customers that is available where there is an entirely mutual dependency that is used with the customer service. And there is another reason that has led to the stronger supplier relationship. There is another reason also that is also lead to the supplier relationship, that has led to the supplier relationship. And over the past 100 years, the market for the goods and services has changed dramatically. So over the last 100 years, the market for the goods and the services has changed dramatically. And prior to the 1920, most firms focus on the production in the belief that a quality product will sell themselves. So whatever the quality product, whatever the dependencies that is available, they depend on their quality product will sell itself. And from the 1920s to the 1950s, many firms focus on selling what they could regardless of whether the customer actually needed or not. That means whatever the supplier management that is available, whatever the suppliers, whatever the organization that is available, that is regardless of the customer activity that is needed for it. And from 1950 to 1990s, the market turned around from a seller market to a buyer's market. That means the market is turned around to from a seller market, so that is going from the seller market to the buyer's market as customer became more we can say as customer become more demanding at their needs and producing the product and services that satisfy these needs. So whatever the satisfaction, whatever the need that is satisfied with the customer, that is satisfied with the customer requirement. And during the last 10 years, customer orientation has been taken one step further by focusing on the establishing and maintaining the relationship. So whatever the relationship, whatever the cost maintaining that is available, that maintains with both the customers and suppliers between the buyers and the seller. And there involve the strategic appliances that is applied for the various cost supply benefits. And there is a net benefit to both the parties. So whatever the parties that is available, so there is a net benefit to both the parties. And for the customer, the supplier is more inclined to keep its promises because the relationship secure future orders. So whatever the future order that is available, that is more inclined to the promises that is available with the relationship. And there is more empathy, that is the customer sees the supplier point of view and vice versa. The partnership will also encourage better after sales care and more customer focus throughout the organization. So whatever the partnerships that is available, whatever the partners that is available, that will encourage the better after the sales care and more customer focus throughout the organization, that is used with the customer, that is used with the focus customer. The mutually beneficial suppliers relationship principle is reflected in ISO 9001 through the requirement addressing. So whatever the requirement addressing that is available with the relationship principle. Now, there are three parts that is available with a mutually beneficial supplier relationship. One is the control of the suppliers. Second, evaluation of the suppliers. Third, analysis and review of the supplier data. So there are three parts: controlling of the suppliers, then evaluation of the supplier, then analysis and review of the supplier data. Now, how to use these principles? So whatever the principle that we have learned, how to use that principle or how to validate that principle, how to validate the designing of the principles that is available in this one. The principle can be used in validating the design of the processes, in validating decisions, in auditing system and processes. So whatever the principle that is taken out, so that is taken out in validating the design of the processes, in validating the decisions, in auditing system and processes. And you look at a process and ask, where is the customer focus in this process? That means after checking out the principles, now what's your question? You look at the process and ask the question. What are the various questions? Where is the customer focus in this process or in this process? That means what is the customer focus? Or where is the customer focus? So that what is the where is the main area by which on which the customer is focused? Well, in this process, there is a leadership. So that means the leadership styles are available or not. There are different guiding principles. That is, what are the major objectives and what are the environment that motivates the workforce to achieve these objectives. That means what are the various objectives that is carried out to meet the objective. So there are the motivational part. There are the objective part that motivates the objective in this part. That means how to use the principle in this part. Then where in this process is the involvement of people in the design of the process. That means how to design or how or what kind of people or who are parties that involved in the design of the process, in the decisions, in monitoring and measurement of the performances, and the involvement of the or improvement of the performance. So whatever the tool that is using, that tool must be required for the involvement of the people, that is required for designing the process, for making the decisions, monitoring and measurement of the performance and improvement of the performance. So there are three parts that is available over here by making the decisions. One is one is a monitoring, then there is a measurement, and there is a improvement. So monitoring, measurement, and improvement are the three parts of this process. Where is the process approach to the accomplishment of these objectives? That means what is the or what type of approach is required for approaching these processes? So where is the process approach to the accomplishment of these processes objectives? And where is the system approach to the management of these processes? That means what is the systematic approach that is available to the management of these processes, the optimization of the performance and the elimination of the bottleneck. That means what are the various issues that is available for the bottleneck, that is available for the elimination of the bottleneck. And where in the process are the facts collected and transmitted to the homemakers or transmitted to the decision makers. So what are the various terms by which we can transmit the data that is collected in the transmission of the data that is used for the decision makers? And where is these continual improvement in the performance? So how there is an improvement in the various processes, performance, efficiency, and the effectiveness? And where is there is a mutually beneficial relationship with the supplier in this process? Now, alignment of principle with the business excellence model. That is how we can align the data, how we can align the principles with the business module data, with the business excellence data. So there is a very close match between the 8 quality management principles. So there is a very close match that is available between the 8 quality principles that is used, and these quality principles are the British quality foundation that is required. And this model is based on the premise that customer satisfaction, people satisfaction, and impact on society are achieved through the leadership, driving, and policy strategy. So whatever the policy strategies that is available, that depends on the customer satisfaction, then depends on the people satisfaction that impacts on the society. Now, the next part is the quality control. That is today's topic. That is the quality control. So what is the quality control? So whenever we are managing the different processes, whenever we are managing the different principle, that is the quality management principle. So the main focus is on the quality control. That means it is a part of the quality management that focus on fulfilling the requirement. Whether the requirements are fulfilled or not, that is, we can say that is measured by the quality control. So if I'm talking about the quality control, that means a controlling process, or that means a part by which the quality can be measured or quality measurement can be measured by using the ISO principles. Now, what the definition fails to tell us is that quality principles are available or not. That means quality control is a part of the quality management that focus on fulfilling the requirement. What the definition fails to tell us is that It controls the regulate performances. That means it regulates the performance. That is not correct for this one. Now, what are the various business excellence concept? What is the ISO 9000 principle that is available with this one? The first part is the customer focus. The next part is also the customer focus. That means the business excellence concept that is available over here. Now, what is the customer focus? The customer is the main or final arbiter of the product and the services. So, customer is the main part of the arbiter of the product and the services. So this is the customer focus. That means what is the customer focus, or where we can focus on the customer. So that is the customer focus. So customer is the final attributor, or final, we can say, the main aim of the product and the service quality and the customer loyalty. So whatever the customer loyalty that is available, that is the part of the customer focus. Retention and the market share gain are the best optimized to a clear focus on the need of the current and the potential customer. That means the main focus is on the customer, that is the customer focus. The next is the ISO principle, that is a ISO principle that organization depends on their customer, that is also involvement of this one. This is the comparison of the business and this one. Now, the control is sometimes perceived as undesirable if removed freedom. That means if I'm talking about the quality control that is not available, for example, if there is no quality control, so that means a freedom. So if everyone was free to do it just at their life, so there will be a chaos. That means there is no rules regulation that is available. So control is very essential to prevent the changes, and when applied to quality, they regulate the quality performance. That means the quality will be improved by using the quality control, by using the quality management principles to prevent the changes, and when applied to the quality, they regulate the quality performances and prevent the undesirable changes that is available in the quality of the product or the services being supplied. And when operations are under the control, they are predictable, and predictability is a factor that is vital for the organization. So whatever the organization, whatever the control that is available, that is predictable and that is vital for the organization that is to be successful. If you cannot predict with what might happen when a process is initiated, you are relying on a chance. That means you are relying on a chance that cannot predict what might happen when a process is initiated. The quality of the product and the services cannot be left to the chance. That means they are product and services. The quality of the product cannot be left to the chance. That means there is no quality that is available for the left to the chance. That is, the quality of the product and the services cannot be left to the chance. The simplest form of quality control is expressed or is illustrated in the figure 2.4. This figure 2.4, that is a generic control model, that is a generic control model of the quality management. In this, the quality control can be applied to a particular products, processes, that products or that produce the product, or to the output of the whole organization by measuring the overall quality performance of the organization. So whatever the quality management, whatever the quality control, whatever the quality performance is that is managed by the organization, that is controlled by the quality management. That is a generic control model. So this is the requirement, then there is a plan, then this is a do, then check, then conforms, then yes, then product or service. That means what is the requirement for this one? That is the check the requirement, then plan for the requirement, corrective action will be taken, remedial action will be taken, then do the task. That means do whatever the task that is required, then check the task, then confirms whether this full or that whether the whatever the things we are doing, whatever the requirement that we are considering, that confirms with the unity or not, that confirms with the objective or not, that confirms. If yes, then produce the product or services. So first of all, confirm about the principle. If that confirm, then only the product and the services. If no, then feedback is again going back to the remedial action. Then there is a corrective action. Again go back to the plan. Again do. Again check. Again check. That is confirmed, then again produce the product or the services. If the yes, otherwise again going. That is known as a feedback loop. That means this is a looping that is carried out. The progressive development of controls from having no control, installing controls at all the three stages from the beginning to the end of the product cycle is illustrated. So whatever the terms, whatever the product that is available with the requirement that is available from the beginning to the end of the product cycle. As can be seen, if you have no control, quality products are produced by a chance and not the design. The more control you install, the more certain you are producing the product of the consistent quality, but more control does not mean more inspection. That means more control does not mean the more inspection. This is one of the diagrams that shows how the development of the control will be occurred. This is control before the event. That means what are the various controls that is taken out before the event occurs. So some failure cannot be allowed to occur and some will be prevented from the various controls. Then control during the event. That means some failures are occurs during the processing takes place. That means some failure must be corrected immediately using the automatic control and the mistake proving. So there are multiple automatic control that is also available. That is a mistake proving material that controls during the event. And by continuous monitoring of the parameter in a processing plant, the temperature, pressure, quantities, etc. are adjusted to maintain output within the specified limit. So whatever the specified limit that is available, that is used to maintain the output within the specified limit. Electronic components are designed so that they can be only be inserted in the correct orientation. That means electronic components are designed in such a way that there must be a control during the event, that the controlling must be done during the event controlling. Computer programs are designed so that the routine will not run unless the correct type of data is entered in every field. That means the computer programs are designed in such a way that the routine will not run unless the correct type of data is entered in every field. This is controlling during the event. This is before the event. This is after the event. This is controlling after the event. So where the consequences of the failure are less several, or where other types of several or sensors are not practical or possible, output verification can be used as a means of detecting the failure. That means that it should be output verification that is done after the event for controlling after the event. Product inspection and test is controlled after the event because it occurs after the product is produced. That means whenever the product is produced, that controlling will be done after the event. That means the test is controlled after the event. And when observing the trends over the longer period. So when the failure cannot be measured without observing the trends, so if there is no trends over the longer period, you can use the information control. That means you can use the information control in the failure terms. They do not stop immediate operations, but they may well be used to stop the further operations when limited are exceeded. That means when the limit are exceeded, that controls after the event. And it is often deemed that quality assurance serves the prevention in the quality control detection, but a control installed is to detect the failure before it occurs, serves prevention. That means before it occurs, the prevention that is used for the quality assurance. Quality assurance does not change the product, quality control does. That means quality assurance does not change the product, but the quality control changes the product as there is a requirement of the user, there is a requirement of the label. Now, quality control as a label. So quality control is also the term that is used as a name of the department. In most cases, quality control department performs the inspection. So there's a quality control department that performs the inspection and the test activities, and the name derives from the authority that such department have been given. So whatever the department that is given, that defines the activity, that defines the authority that such departments have been given the quality control. They sort the goods and products from the bad products. That means they sort out the what are the various good products from the bad product and authorize the release of the good product. So whatever the good product that is available, that authorizes the release of the good product. It is also common to find the quality control department perform supplier control activity. So whatever the quality control department that perform the supplier control activity, that is also known as a supplier quality assurance or the vendor control. That is using the quality control as a label. In this respect, they are authorized to release the product from the supplier to the organization, either from the supplier premises or the receipt in the organization. So whatever the receipt, whatever the data that is available, that is used for the supplier premises or the receipt in the organization. Now, what are the various universal sequence of the steps? So what are the various universal sequence of the step that is available for the quality management? So the following steps can accomplish the control of the quality or anything else for that matter. So whatever the matter that is available that establish the quality control or that accomplish the control of the quality. Now, determine what parameter is to be controlled. So what are the various parameters that is to be controlled? That is also one of the steps. Then establish its criticality and whether you need to control before, doing, or after the results are produced. So whatever the result, whatever the quality control that is available, that indicates the quality, criticality, and control before, during, or after the results are produced. Then establish a specification for the parameter. That means whatever the specification, whatever the parameter that is available that is used for the parameter to be controlled, which provides the limit of the acceptability and the units of the measure. So whatever the limit, whatever the profitability, whatever the specifications, whatever the parameter that is available, that provides the limit of the acceptability and the units of the measure. That means there are multiple controlling part that provides the limit of the acceptability and the unit of the measure. Next step is produce the plans for the control that specify the means by which the characters or by which the characteristics will be achieved. So whatever the characteristics, whatever the controlling that it will be achieved, that is achieved with the various variation that it detected and the removed. Then organize the resources to implement the plans for quality control. That means organize the resources that is used to implement the plans for the quality control. Then install a sensor at an appropriate point in the process. That means installing the sensors at the appropriate point in the process to sense the variation from the specification. So whatever the variation that is available, that is used to sense the variation from the specification. Then collect and transmit the data to a place for analysis. Then verify the result. After analysis, there is a verification of the result. Then diagnose the cause of the data, diagnose the cause of any variation or any variance. So, and if there is any variance that is available, that is also one of the diagnostic variable that is available for the expected range. Then purpose or propose the remedies and decide on the action needed to restore the status quota. Then take the agreed action and check that process stability has been restored. Now the next part is variation. So let's take a break. After the break, let's discuss about the variation. So the next part that is available is what are the various categories of the variations, or how different tools have a different variation. So variation is present in all the systems. No, nothing is absolutely stable. That means nothing is absolutely stable. Variation, or we can say the movement, is available in all the systems. If you monitor the difference between the measured value and the required value of a characteristics and plot it on the time scale that is available, so there is a variation, there is a movement in the or there is a movement in the time scale over the time. These or there does not have to be required value to stop the variation. So they are not value that is supported and that is required, or that value is required to stop the variation. And if you monitor any parameters, if there are any parameter that is required, so if you monitor any parameter over the time, for example, the duration, resources, consumption, strength, weight, etc., you will see a pattern of the variation that within appropriate scale will show up the significant deviation from the average. So whatever the average, whatever the deviation that is required with the appropriate scale, that will show up the significant deviation from the average. And if you plot the values on a histogram or as a histogram, you will observe that there is a distribution of the results around the average. So there is a distribution of the results around the average, that is a histogram result. And as you repeat the plot for a new set of measurement of the same characteristics, you will notice that there is a variation between this second set and the first. So there is a variation, that means there is a movement between the second set and the first set. In studying the result, you will observe that there is a variation. So variation in the location of the average for each plot, variation in the speed of the values, variation in the shape of the distribution. So whatever the variation, whatever the movement that is taken out, that will observe, there are three results that is observed: variation in the location, variation in the spread of the value, variation in the shape of the distribution. So that means there is a difference, or there is a movement, there is a difference in the average of the for the slope. There is a variation in the spread of the value. So whatever the value that is spread it out, there is a variation, and variation in the shape of the distribution. So whatever the shape that is required, there is a variation in the shape of the distribution. And the factors causing these variations are referred to as assignable and or the spatial causes. So whatever the causes that is required, that may be assignable causes or the spatial causes. Now, what is the spatial cause, and next, what is the common cause? This I am going to take within the next class, that is in the tomorrow's class, that is the spatial cost and the dim cost. So let's stop over here only, and these are the two courses that is most important courses that I'm taking in the next class, that is the tomorrow's class. So thanks a lot everyone. That's all for today's session. And if there is any doubts, any suggestions, you can add the doubts from me regarding the assignment, regarding the module, regarding anything. So thanks a lot everyone. Bye bye.